essentially the message of this talk is about the need for unification. Now we are living in the 21st century, and in this century, most of us don't study any Indian knowledge system. IIT Kharagpur has started this program on IKS, which is very good. A long delay, it should have been done many years ago, but the fact is that throughout school, throughout university, you are learning subjects which are not from Indian knowledge. All the subjects you are learning are from Western knowledge. So now has come a time when we have to rediscover. Today it must solve the problem. We should be looking at contemporary relevance of Indian knowledge systems. That means contemporary relevance means what is the relevance of knowledge system today and tomorrow, not yesterday. So, good afternoon, everybody. As you can see from the screen, I'm going to be talking about unifying knowledge systems, and the knowledge systems I refer to. So, the question is, why unify? Why should we try to unify these knowledge systems? Now, you try to unify something primarily because, they both perhaps refer to the same phenomena. So, there are very many ways of making, for example, things with puffed rice. In Maharashtra we have a dish called bhel puri. But in Bengal also, there is something which is similar but different. But it's called jhalmuri. So now, one can do a meaningful lecture on the relationship between jhalmuri and bhelpuri because they share the same, at least the principal ingredient is the same. It's some form of puffed rice. So here, when we are talking about unifying knowledge systems and we are talking about Ayurveda and biology, what is the common ground? So let me explain. Ayurveda is the Sanskrit equivalent of the Greek word biology. Ayu, as you know, means life. Actually, if you look at the root meaning of the word Ayu, if you talk to a Sanskrit grammarian, he will tell you that Ayu is not merely life, but it is about change, gati. There is a gati in that word Ayu, change in life processes. Ayu means change in life processes, not merely life, but change. And Veda is, of course, the knowledge of. So, Ayurveda means the knowledge of change in life processes. Biology is the Greek word which means the same thing. Bio is change in life processes, logy is the knowledge of, etc. So, the reason, therefore, for exploring unification of these knowledge systems is they mean the same thing. One is a Sanskrit word, Ayurveda, the other is a Greek word. Now, many of us are not aware of this. They think that Ayurveda is something Indian, different, etc., etc. Of course, it is Indian. Of course, there are differences, and we'll come to them. But they share the same goal because both are knowledge systems that deal with change in life processes. Ayu, bio, logy, Veda. So, thus, the reason for unification. Now, what is the difference in the way they view changes in the life processes? Ayurveda understands changes in the whole system, in the whole biological system. We call it systemic change. Biology, on the other hand, understands the change that is taking place in the biological system at the cellular level or the molecular level. That's the difference. That one is trying to understand change happening in the whole system. The other is trying to understand the change at the molecular or the cellular level. Is it possible to look at change at both these levels? Yes, it is. Otherwise, you would not have a knowledge system like Ayurveda, nor would you have a European knowledge system like biology. It is possible. There's a whole body of knowledge about how to understand change at the whole level, systemic level, and how to understand change at the molecular or the cellular level, the whole knowledge systems dealing with this. Can one look at a phenomena of biological change from two different perspectives? One looking at it at the whole level, one looking at it at the cellular level. If you reflect on this, not in respect of biology now, but to give you an example. So I happen to be sitting in a room that overlooks a garden. Unfortunately, I am not moving my camera. Otherwise, I could show you that on the left and right side, the windows that are there in this room in which I'm sitting, they both overlook a garden. It's a nice garden. Happens to be a garden of medicinal plants. Now, if I look from the western window, I get a certain view of the garden. If I look from the eastern window, which is opposite, I get another view of the same garden. My question to my audience is, are both these views the same? I'd like an answer. I'm looking at a garden from a western window and an eastern window. Will I get the same view from both the windows? I understand you saying no. Obviously no, because from the western side the garden looks different. From the eastern side, the same garden, it's part of the same garden, but it looks different. If I were to climb on the roof of this building, I would get neither an eastern view nor a western view. I would get a 360-degree view. That would be yet a different view, because that's a 360-degree view. The point I'm making is that biological change, the phenomena of biological change, can be studied from different viewpoints. Ayurveda positions itself to study biological change differently, like an eastern window or something, and European biology looks at biological change from a different window. And so therefore, while they are looking at the same phenomena, the phenomena being of biological change, they are viewing it from different positions, not the same position. And therefore the views are different. Is there a need to quarrel because the views are different? I'm asking the audience. Should we quarrel because the views from the east and west are different? No need to quarrel, because they are both views that are correct. But one is an eastern view, one is a western view. So the relationship in the views of Ayurveda and biology is like the relationship between the whole and part. So in Ayurveda, you're viewing a whole phenomena, in biology, you are viewing part of the phenomena. The need for unification is there. That is the theme of this talk. The need for unification is there. Why? Because when you look at it from the biology, modern European biology window, you can only view changes taking place in a part of the whole biological system, namely the cells, the cellular changes. Now, the audience now may not all be biologists, but I may inform non-biologists that when you view a change happening at a cellular level, you cannot extrapolate that change to what is happening at a multicellular level, namely at the level of tissues. Tissues contain so many cells, organs, and not at all for the whole system. Because there are so many cells in the body, there is so much of crosstalk. It's a very complex thing, the human body, the human bio, as it's called. It's very complex. There are trillions of cells. Trillions, it's a very large number. So observing changes happening at a cellular level in a particular part of the biological system, you cannot from that infer. It can give some indications, etc., but you cannot infer what is happening at higher levels where many cells are together, like in tissues, organs, organelles, or the whole system. So this is the limitation of European biology or modern biology. In Ayurveda, we have concepts like Panchamahabhut Siddhant, three doshas, Kapha, Vata, Pitta, etc. And we use these, so we don't look at cells. In Ayurveda, we don't know anything about cells. We don't look at cells. We look at changes happening in Kapha, Vata, Pitta, or in the Panchamahabhutas in the body. And so while we know what is happening at this level of the doshas, Kapha, Vata, Pitta, these are functions that govern the body, we don't know what is happening at the cellular level in Ayurveda. Cellular level, what is happening, we are zero, we are ignorant about it in Ayurveda, knowledge system. In biology, it is the opposite. We know very clearly, we can see, we have instruments to see, we have microscopes, we have electronic microscopes, we have very sophisticated equipments to see change happening at the cellular level. But we do not know what is happening at the level of the whole system or even at higher levels of the system like tissues, organs, etc. We don't know. Therefore, unification, combination, combining the view we get from Ayurveda, the systemic view, with the molecular view we get from biology, deepens our knowledge of the changes that are taking place in the biological system. And that changes that are taking place in the biological system is the very goal. You can see in the first bullet, it is the very goal of both Ayurveda and biology. Both mean looking at the changes taking place in the life processes or in the biological system. That is the goal. But that goal is not achieved properly by biology because it cannot see the change that is happening in the whole of the biological system. It can only see it in the part of the system, the cellular level. Neither is the whole view, complete whole view achieved by Ayurveda, because it is seeing things at the whole level. But to know the whole level, you should also know what is happening at the level of the cells, at the molecular level. But we don't see that level. The molecular we don't see. So both, therefore, have limitations. You know, today we have very sophisticated telescopes. Telescopes, I'm not talking of microscopes. We have very sophisticated telescopes to look at the outer space. I mean, I don't know the subject of astronomy or astrophysics, but I have read that they have positioned these telescopes in different parts of the earth, different places. It's not one telescope, a number of telescopes today. And each telescope is looking at the universe from some part, getting a different view. And so a number of telescopes get so many different views, and then they stitch all those views together, the views of the universe that they get, in order to get a better picture, a broader picture of the universe. From one telescope, you can't get it broad enough. So nowadays they use many telescopes in different places in the earth in order to get a broader view. Is it a good thing to get a broad view of a phenomena, or is it better to have a narrow view? Question to the audience. Broader or narrower, which view is good?
Broader view.
That's a very intelligent answer. Because if you want to see a particular cellular phenomena, then you want a narrower view. You need a microscope, if you want to see something small. If you want a broader view, of course, you use a different instrument. So that answer is very intelligent, depending on your objective. Sometimes narrower, sometimes broader. But I think on the whole, in any phenomena, if you had both the views, then overall your view is broader. So that is the advantage of Ayurveda biology combination, that overall you get a broader view of what? A broader view of biological change. And that is the objective. That is the objective of Ayurveda, that is the objective of biology. Now, I'm not talking of theory. So I'm not talking of something in imagination or something in speculation. Ayurveda biology research is happening today. A great deal of research got started in 2005. Now we are in 2022. And the work started actually in Karnataka, where I'm based. And there is a surgeon named M.S. Valyathan, cardiac surgeon, very well-known person, but who is also a Sanskrit scholar. And so Dr. Valyathan got a very major research grant from the Department of Science and Technology in order to study Ayurveda biology, the combination. Now, for the audience, I'll take you through the areas in a very broad way. So on the left side, my left side, I think for you also to be Ayurgenomics. This is one area. in which that research has been happening, IU Genomics. You all know about genomics. I mean, you know the term. If you're biologists and scientists, then you know what it means. But every single one of us has a different genetic makeup. Everyone. My genetic makeup is mine, unique. Each one of us has a unique genetic makeup. And so there are as many genetic makeups in the human population as is the size of the population itself. And within each of our genetic makeups is a lot of detail of how our genes are organized and so on and so forth. So it requires, so it's so much of data is there that in modern genetics it is very difficult to classify populations according to their genotypes, the type, typical genetic arrangement that they may have. It's very difficult to classify. And so this research that was started by Dr. Valyathan worked with Ayurveda. Now, does anyone, Ayurveda classifies any population, however large, into three types. 1, 2, 3, three types. These three types depend on what we call prakritis. The Ayurveda scheme of classification is called prakriti. So prakriti 1, prakriti 2, prakriti 3. Vata prakriti, kapha prakriti, pitta prakriti. Three prakriti types. Now this research showed that the genetic classification could be also the pattern, the change in genetic, the pattern of genetic classification could be grouped under these three types, kapha, vata, pitta. Now I will not get to any details of this work, but you should understand that this has changed. I mean, it has been a very big path-breaking kind of research because it shows how to classify populations according to their genotypes. It developed a new framework for genetic classification. So it's a big thing that this combination did, the combination of Ayurveda and biology. Another area below that, regenerative biology. Quite a bit of work is going on. You have heard the term regenerative biology. The goal of regenerative biology is, can you delay aging? Not just delay aging, but ideally at some time, can you make an old person, say like myself, you can see from my bald head and my face that, I'm a bit old in age. In age only. I'm quite young in my mind. I think mentally I feel only 22 years old. My chronological age is 71. But in regenerative biology, the idea is, can you make a 71-year-old body look younger? Not only look younger, become younger in terms of the way it functions. Can you, because aging is all to do with, at least in modern biology, it is all to do with inefficiencies that come in the way your physiological system works. You're not able to assimilate food and digest it and use it. And so there's decay that keeps happening. Now there are molecular methods, what is called stem cells, STEM, stem cells. These are the cells that are being studied for the purpose of regenerative biology. Ayurveda also has a subject which in Sanskrit means the same thing, rasayana biology, that is regenerative biology. That's a Sanskrit word. Rasayanas. This is one meaning of rasayana. Rasayana means regenerative biology. This regenerative biology of Ayurveda has been around for a few hundred years. As lay people, we may have heard of some yogi, who may be quite old chronologically, maybe 100 years old or 150 years old, but he looks just like he is 25. This is due to rasayana. The yogi knows how to use Ayurveda rasayana practice and theory or whatever. And so he remains young. He does not age. So this is another area of research where stem cell biologists, not everywhere, in some places, are working with Rasayana, Ayurveda Rasayana people. And very interesting results are coming. If that work becomes deeper and stronger, a day may appear where those interested in remaining young can remain so. So it's a very important area of work, possible only because of the combination of Ayurveda and biology. The third area is in something that we are all interested in, food. We have very little understanding of really food. You know what you like food-wise, you know what you don't like. But from a nutrition angle, if I were to ask someone, what is good food for everybody, for each of us? What is the good food nutritionally? I am not sure whether we understand that in modern nutrition. I'm asking now the audience, tell me what is good food? What is the definition of good food? Healthy food, good food. Can someone tell me the answer?
Good food is fresh food, not stale
Fresh.
food.
What else?
Raw food,
All right. What else?
a vegetarian.
So, should your food contain some proportion of proteins, carbohydrates, fats, minerals? Should it also contain that apart from being fresh and all that? So right now in modern nutrition, while what the lady said is correct, but in addition to that, people think that good food is a food which must have, each one of us must eat some amount of protein, carbohydrate, fat, minerals, vitamins in our diet. If your diet is only with vitamins, it won't work. If it is only with fats, it won't work. If it's only carbohydrates, it will not work to improve your health or to keep you healthy. You need a combination of proteins, carbohydrates, fats, etc. And of course, the food must be fresh. Hopefully, it must be grown in an organic way without chemical fertilizers and all that. But if the question was asked, and I'm asking this question to, let's say, the person at your end who has got the mic there, how much of protein, carbohydrate, fat, mineral, vitamin should you have, the person with the mic at your end? How much? Can you tell me?
I feel I have a different definition about food.
I was diabetic. I did not bother much about sugar or whatever. Now my diabetes is over. And I am a sitting example over here. मेरे लिए क्या है, फूड रुचिकर होना चाहिए. You know, even the Ayurveda also, when you have the food, उसको देखना, उसको थोड़ा सा appreciate करना, smelling it, then making the right mood, and then having the food. और कोई भी खाना, जैसे एक वो पुरानी कहानी थी ना जिसमें लोग कहते थे कि बेटा मोहन भोग खाना, so that means when you're really hungry, then whatever is presented before you, and you eat it with a sense of gratitude, and that gratitude for the entire chain, which has been the old Indian tradition, then that food converts into like a nectar. And I was also sharing with you the eastern window and western window. I thought both are in the same direction. So it doesn't matter whatever window you peep into there, you see the same thing over there. So regarding the food, I believe that people should not be, there's a ahar, vihar, vicharo, vishwas. If we follow that model, तो उसमें जो भी खा लें वो सब बढ़िया होता है. खुद खा के and also feeding other also. I take food in that holistic manner. Suppose you are so much angry, jealous, तो जो भी खाओगे, maybe you eating the best of the protein, but that will not suit your body. So I believe जो आपकी मनोदशा कैसी है, and all these things are very important, sir. It is my humble submission.
Yeah, any other comment from anybody? Any comment on how much of protein, carbohydrate, fat, minerals, vitamins do you need? The next person who takes the mic. How much do you need, you particularly, the speaker? Do you know? I'm asking.
Sir, is it on the basis of the age? Actually, the requirements are there, can be classified. At the growing age, we need,
Okay.
and when we grow up, the certain amount of there may be a limitation, and when we grow even older, there may be some restrictions. But at the growing age, we need the balanced diet, having the proportionate amount of protein, carbohydrate, and all, and amount of roughage is also there. I should also like to include.
Yeah, so that's right. Age is also a factor. But you know, the answer to this question at the global level, at the level of science or at the level of knowledge, is that there is no uniform answer. There is no uniform formula about the food. Of course, it should be fresh and all that. Of course, it should be eaten with a good mind. It should be cooked also with a good mind, not somebody angry and all cooking and all. All that is correct. But really, at the frontiers of nutrition, all over the world, those who know, at the frontiers I'm talking about, the answer is that it has to be individualized. Every one of us needs are different. Every single one, the needs are different. It is not the same. No two people, even a husband and wife or something, or father and son or daughter or whatever, no, even within a family, it is not the same requirement for everyone, where every individual's needs are different. So, at the frontiers of nutrition, we say personalized nutrition, personalized, individualized. That is the nutrition for you. You have to find out what is your personalized need by consulting the right person, the right physician. Ayurvedic physicians might be able to tell you, modern nutrition cannot tell you because they don't understand personalization today, modern nutrition. Good Ayurveda physician can tell you what is the personalized food for you, you in particular, each of us. So, food is a very important area for Ayurveda and biology. At the same time, whatever be the personalized food for you, it must contain a particular proportion of protein, carbohydrate, fat, mineral. But what proportion is not uniform. The proportion may depend on your age, it may depend on the type of work on your body, on your prakriti, on your, what we talked about in the first point, the prakriti, kapha, vata, pitta. A kapha person, dietary needs are quite different from a pitta one and a pitta one from a vata one and so on and so forth. And so it depends on your prakriti, it depends on your age, it depends on the place where you live, the climate in which you, so many factors, and finally it has to be individualized. Ayurveda, biology, this combination has the promise, if that work is pursued, it has the promise of personalized nutrition. It can give to the knowledge, it can create new knowledge of what we call personalized nutrition. Okay? So that's the importance. It can solve the problems of malnutrition also. Iron, for example, is a huge problem in our country. Very many women all over the country, many adolescent girls, many pregnant women, also children, we all suffer from iron deficiency. That is a problem that can be better solved if Ayurveda and biology work together. I won't get into the detail of it, but because the problem of iron deficiency is the problem of metabolism, poor metabolism. It is not, there is enough iron in the food that you eat, but it is not getting absorbed. That's the problem. How to get it absorbed is the challenge. Even a poor person's food has got iron in it because the requirement of iron for a body is very small. Every day you only require 1 milligram, that's very small. In IIT Kharagpur, where you are there, you can talk to someone, scientists, they are trying to put iron into rice so that it will be iron rice fortified with iron. So that, large populations who buy that rice, if they eat the rice, the hope is that they will get iron from the rice itself, because they put the iron inside the rice. That's the project that scientists in IIT Kharagpur are working on. Now, not sure whether that will work. It's not sure. The iron is there in the rice, but whether it will get absorbed or no is a question mark. And you can discuss while you are there in Kharagpur, if you have the time, discuss with those scientists, with that group, which are working on fortification of rice with iron. Whether they are confident that iron in the rice will get absorbed, whether they can put iron in the rice, yes, they are doing so. There's no doubt about that. But even if you eat that rice, will your iron in the body increase? Will it get absorbed? Is perhaps a question mark. Anyway, I don't go further on this, just to say that the advantage of working on the combination of Ayurveda and biology, on unifying Ayurveda biology, is in genomics, in regenerative biology, in food, in disease classification. This is a very complex area. In designing new drugs, you can design new drugs based on Ayurveda biology. You can design drugs made from metals, minerals, and herbs. They are called herbo-mineral drugs. They are very, very fast-acting drugs. They can work on vaccine delivery. They can work on a very specialized area of natural products development, drug development, etc. So lots of areas in which Ayurveda biology combination can be better than just Ayurveda alone and better than biology alone. The combination will do a better job. I'm giving you some examples of things already done in Ayurveda biology. So there is a combination of a drug called Nisha Amlaki. Nisha means haldi, turmeric. Amalaki, you all know, amla, fruit. There is a combination of a drug in which you combine haldi and amla, I think in equal proportion. You can get that drug in the market. It's called Nisha Amlaki tablets or something you can get. This is an Ayurvedic formulation. It has been around for centuries, but not many people know the value of this. Such a simple formulation, turmeric and amla mixed together. It is one of the best drugs that is available for pre-diabetes, early stages of diabetes. And the science is given there. It has been studied by the formula comes from Ayurveda. We have analyzed the formula using biology, and we find that this drug reduces what is called the glycemic load and is extremely useful, can be eaten every day for people who are on the borderline stage of diabetes, early diabetes, etc. So, and such a simple formula. Now, the formula has been lying in our Ayurveda practice and books for centuries. But today, with Ayurveda biology, we are able to show the value of this formula for early stages of diabetes. So simple, you don't need to buy it also. You can at home, in the season, take amla and turmeric and mix them in, I think, equal proportion. Or you can make a pickle out of amla with haldi in it and just salt, etc., something simple. But this will help you in early stages of diabetes. But this knowledge has come from Ayurveda combined with biology. Another example, ghee. Most of us have tasted ghee. Some of you may be eating it regularly. Some people are afraid to eat ghee, thinking that it may raise cholesterol or something. But I can tell you all that is nonsense. According to Ayurveda biology, ghee is one of the most wonderful food and should be taken by everybody above the age of 55 if you want to prevent getting Alzheimer and dementia and memory problems. Ghee is an essential part of your diet. I'm not asking you to take, we are talking of 1 teaspoon of ghee with your breakfast, with your lunch, these 2 meals, regularly, not once in a way. We have done studies on this, and it shows that all kinds of memory, what is called visual memory, auditory memory, logical memory, attention, concentration, speed of completing a task, everything improves. Cognition improves with the help of ghee. Brahmi ghee is a particular ghee which has got infusion of the plant Brahmi, which is also known for improving memory. So Brahmi ghee is a particular ghee product for memory, but even ghee alone, no Brahmi in it, is extremely good for memory. It should be taken, and this knowledge is a combination of knowledge from Ayurveda and biology. I'm not getting into the detail, but ghee contains what are called short chain fatty acids. They get directly, ghee provides those short chain fatty acids. They go through the blood, they get absorbed in the blood. From the blood, they go to the brain. In the brain, they remove short chain fatty acids, can prevent what is called plaques or blockages happening in the brain, which blockages result in memory loss and so on and so forth. So ghee is a very good thing. Brahmi ghee is particularly good if you have a specific problem of memory. But even if you don't use Brahmi, just ghee is good. And this knowledge is coming from the combination of using Ayurveda and biology. Third example, snacks. We talked of jal puri or bhel puri and all that. These are snacks. A great snack is a combination of amla, methi, kadi patta, jeera. If you take this combination, in my university we make a snack out of it, like a chips, like not potato chips, but crisp thing, not fried. There's a roasted product we make, and anyone can make it who has that equipment. Amla, methi, curry leaf, cumin. If you have that in 10 grams, it's a very small amount. It's very tasty also. It will improve iron absorption. This formula itself, you don't need a drug, you don't need medicine, you don't need iron folic acid or something like that. And this is just one example. There are hundreds of such snacks. You can change the whole snack industry by making food using the knowledge of Ayurveda and biology. This is one example. Similarly, Brahmi ghee or ghee is one example. Nisha Amlaki is also example. These are only examples of innovative application. There are hundreds. These are only examples. Take the fourth example, which is safe drinking water. All of you, if you are middle class people like myself, we have these gadgets at home. Someone has an RO, someone has the Hindustan lever, something where your water goes through filters and all that kind of thing. The gadget itself costs 6,000-7,000 rupees, and then these companies make money every year. At least once or twice in a year, you spend another 1,000 rupees or more changing one filter, doing something and all, just to get safe drinking water. Now I am asking you, the audience, do you know the cheapest method of ensuring cheapest method in the world, not just cheapest, but cheapest in the world, the cheapest method in the world for ensuring that your water is safe? Question to the audience. Tell me.
Just to keep it within the copper vessel overnight, the coliform count will
Correct.
become 0.
No, you're correct. If you store your water in copper vessel, lota, madka, anything. If you don't have a copper vessel, you can still make a copper cylinder. It's possible to make a cylinder which can go into plastic madka, mud madka, aluminium madka, steel madka. You just need a small copper cylinder of a certain size. The size will depend on the storage vessel. What is the size of your water storage vessel? Overnight, 10 hours of contact of water with copper. No boiling, no filtering, nothing. Copper ions leach out into that water in very safe quantities, only 50 parts per billion, which is very, very safe. No chance of any harm. And they completely destroy all microbes that are harmful. E. coli, typhoid microbes, cholera microbes, viral things, all gets destroyed. So, for middle class people, of course, many of us have also in our homes small copper lotas. No matter how dirty be the water in your tap, how polluted be the water in your tap in terms of microbial impurity, 10 hours of contact with water will finish off all those microbes. You can be 100% sure. This is a traditional solution. This is Ayurveda solution. And the cost is very small. Because supposing you put this copper into your water vessel where you store your water, it will not cost you, even for a 20-liter vessel of water, that copper that you require to be put in it, of course, it has to be washed every day. But that copper that you require will not cost you more than 700-800 rupees. And that is one-time cost for a whole lifetime. Not like these modern things where every year you're spending, to begin with, to buy that water filter, it's 7,000, then every year 1,500 replacement, nothing. No replacement, nothing. Only requirement is daily washing that copper vessel or that cylinder with ash or with tamarind or with nibu, use nibu, so that it gets oxidized, so that that remains clean and shining. This is the world's cheapest solution. I think the government of every state, particularly in Bengal, where there is a lot of, in certain pockets of Bengal, there's a lot of cholera and all. Simply, if that whole population, in the poorest of localities, maybe a slum, maybe a village, is provided copper vessels, cholera will vanish. Because the people store their water in copper. It won't happen in 1 minute, 10 hours, mind you the time, overnight. That means you keep it 6 in the evening, 6 in the morning. When you drink that water, it will be 100% safe from microbes. I'm talking of microbial purification, which is a major problem in water. All the diseases of waterborne are mainly due to microbial contamination. There is also chemical contamination in pockets of India, but that is smaller. Main problem is microbial, and copper is the solution. Solution coming from Ayurveda. The proof that copper works is a combination of research between Ayurveda and biology. Another example, just an example. Giving another example below, there is something called the Traditional Knowledge Digital Library. Now, the library is there with CSIR, the Central Council for Industrial Research. Okay, the library is there with one of their units, TKDL. It is rightly what you said. It is a digital. It's computerized knowledge of herbal formulations from all the literature of Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, etc. How many formulations? You can see the number there, 3 lakh. That's a very large number. Why do I say it's a very large number? How many modern drugs are there in the whole world? The estimate is 4,000. So 4,000 modern drugs. Here India has 3 lakh herbal drugs computerized by the government of India in what is called TKDL, and these are drugs for everything: cough, cold, fever, dysentery, diarrhea, malaria, skin, everything possible. So we are sitting on a gold mine in terms of these formulations. If we now use Ayurveda biology to look at priority areas, for example, we don't have good drugs even for a simple thing like iron deficiency, anemia. The modern drugs don't work. You'll get dozens of drugs for iron deficiency, anemia from this 3 lakh. So another example, but you need to do the work, the information in Ayurveda, but you need to revalidate it in terms of biology so that it can convince you and can convince everybody else. These are examples. The Prakriti example I already told you in the previous slide that it is a way of personalization. Each of you should know your Prakriti. Audience, this is my message to you. It will take you half an hour or 40 minutes if you consult the right person to tell you your Prakriti. Are you Kapha, Vata, Pitta, or a combination? The permutation combination totals up to 7. So you can be Kapha Vata, you can be Pitta Vata, Pitta Kapha, etc., etc. 7. One of the 7, you are all of you. If you know that, it will be of great benefit for you to decide your diet, your lifestyle. Your whole life will change if you know your Prakriti and what that Prakriti should do in terms of diet and lifestyle. I'm sure you'll find people in every state who are good at this. There must be good people who can do this for you. I'm talking of good people from the Ayurvedic side. But that information, can transform your diet, habits, and your lifestyle. Just that, and it takes 45 minutes to find out. Okay, so I end with these examples. I go to the next slide. So now, what is Ayurveda biology? I already told you in the beginning, they are both about biological change, but looking at it from two different lenses. Biology looks at biological change from the lens of molecular biology. Ayurveda looks at biological change from the lens of what we call Panchamahabhutas. This diagram, there are some of the concepts that are involved. Naturally, when you build a knowledge system based on different lenses, the knowledge looks different. The concepts are different. So here in Ayurveda, we have concepts called Swasthya, Tridosha, Dhatu, Agni, Manas. Their concepts are of biology. So this is the sort of framework that is there. Can somebody tell me what is the meaning of Swasthya?
स्वास्थ्य मीन्स स्वा में स्थित, जो स्वा में स्थित है वो स्वस्थ है.
And sthya means?
स्थित means who is situated in self. So this is what I learned from knowing Dr. Bhan. It is his definition which appealed to me.
No, so it's a very profound word. And as you said, swa means the self, sthya means
Situated in self.
to be in equilibrium with yourself.
Latest definition of WHO, which earlier it was the mental, physical, mental and emotional well-being, and now they have also added the spiritual well-being, also added in the definition of health.
So I'll tell you that the word swasthya, there is a shloka on swasthya, the meaning. So swasthya means, the shloka says, swasthya means to be sthit in swa, to be in equilibrium with yourself, which means samadosha. Samadosha means equilibrium of the physiological function, samadosha. Samadhatu. Dhatu means equilibrium of all your tissues. Sama Agni. That means equilibrium of your metabolism. Sama Malakriya. The equilibrium of your excretory system. If you are constipated, etc., it is not swasthya. So urinary tract has problems, not swasthya. So samadosha, samadhatu, sama agni, sama malakriya. Prasan indriya, your indriyas must be in prasanata. Prasan indriya manas, your mind must be peaceful. Prasan. Prasan manas indriya atma. Indriya manas atma. It's a very profound meaning of swasthya. And in Ayurveda biology, we can now give you a score. If you come to a good place, certainly if you come to my university and you are from this side of the country, we can measure your swasthya. how much of dosha, dhatu, agni, mala, etc., how much of equilibrium, how much of disequilibrium they have, we can tell you, and how to correct it also we can tell you. And now as it goes into biology, we can look at biomarkers underlining samadosha. It's complex, samadosha, samadhatu, and biomarkers underlining this and all. So it's a very interesting area. But essentially the message of this talk is about the need for unification. Now we are living in the 21st century. And in this century, most of us don't study any Indian knowledge system. IIT Kharagpur has started this program on IKS, which is very good. A long delay, it should have been done many years ago, but the fact is that throughout school, throughout university, you are learning subjects which are not from Indian knowledge. All the subjects you are learning are from Western knowledge. So now has come a time when we have to rediscover, not by, shouting slogans or saying we were great people before. Maybe you were great in the past, but who's interested in the past? Today it must solve the problem. We should be looking at contemporary relevance of Indian knowledge systems. That means contemporary relevance means what is the relevance of knowledge system today and tomorrow, not yesterday. Yesterday it may have been a great thing, Indian mathematics and so many things. But today you have to look at what is the relevance today and what is the relevance going to be tomorrow. Ayurveda biology is such a subject. It is for today and tomorrow, not for yesterday. And you can improve swasthya with it. I gave you in the previous slide all those examples of how drinking water problem can be solved, how food nutrition can be solved, so many things. We have gone through this whole lecture in that way. So we need to create now for this century a new science, a new health science. We should break the compartment or the silos between Ayurveda and biology. And when you break the compartments, you don't want to dilute either Ayurveda or don't want to dilute biology. You have to marry them. You have to marry whole and part views of biological change, the whole view of biological change and the part view. You marry them, the whole field of health sciences will move forward. A new health science will come, which has got a broader view. I agree with the lady who spoke in the beginning. Sometimes you may want to use only biology, sometimes you may want to use only Ayurveda. But overall, if you combine these two subjects, so in my university we offer a master's program on biology, in bracket, MSc biology, Ayurveda biology. We don't teach only one biology, we teach both. We teach the biology of whole system, which is Ayurveda. We teach the biology of molecular, cellular level, both together, and no fighting, no quarrel, because both show you different things, and both those things are, what they show you are complementary. Knowledge of whole is not good enough unless you know what is happening at the part level. Knowledge of part is not good enough unless you know what is happening at the whole level. And therefore the combination. And these are the kinds of programs we have to bring in every domain, not just in health sciences, not only Ayurveda biology. We have to start teaching new mathematics. We have to start teaching new logic. We have to start teaching new ways of language, which combines grammar. Sanskrit grammar is a very deep kind of a grammar. We now only teach Russian grammar, That is not complete enough. So, Indian knowledge systems is very important, but not for glorification of the past. It should be for a future progress and present day progress, not only future. Future, God knows when it will come, but today I must improve my health care system in India. Today I must solve the problem of safe drinking water. Today we must solve the problem of better food, better classification of diseases, better classification of human beings, not only the Ayu genomics, what we call, and so on and so forth. Ayurveda biology can promise a new health science and practice for what? To drive innovation in healthcare and fundamental biology. It can result in path-breaking research in fields like wellness, swasthya. Swasthya today now people go to spas. Those spas are not really scientific, or they are not really, they just give you some, good food, little massage, some hot water fermentation or steam fermentation or something. No, it should be based on wellness. Science must be based on an assessment of samadosha, samadhatu, samagni, extent of disequilibrium. You should measure it. You should have biomarkers underlining it. That's Ayurveda biology. And then plan your wellness program. Now we teach medicine only for disease management. We should start teaching medicine, or health should be also about wellness. How to improve your health. So, in fields like wellness science, pharmacology, drug discovery, pharmaceuticals, these are all specialized fields, bioregulation, clinical research, biotechnology, biomedical engineering. So many fields this Ayurveda biology can take this country forward.